I'm Nick Seco from Home Right Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Welcome to Let's Talk TriState, all powered by Home Right Windows and Doors in Waynesboro, the right choice online at homerightwaynesboro.com. Today joining us, we have the Chief of Police for the Chambersburg Police Department, Meredith Dominick. Chief, pleasure to see you today.
Pleasure to see you. Thank you for having me.
It's wonderful to have you. It's the first time we've had a law enforcement officer with us. Actually, I take that back, second time. First was a Maryland State police officer, and I think it is great that we get to know those who are called to protect and serve. And I'd like to do that with you, if we may, just briefly, as we do with all of our guests. Take us through your history, as much as you'd be willing to share with us, about how you wound up becoming the Chief of Police for the Chambersburg Police Department. Okay.
Well, I have approximately 35 years in law enforcement. I started out in Maryland, down in Montgomery County, Maryland. Retired. I taught for a few years at Hagerstown Community College. Thought I was done, but a few of the national events kind of pulled me back towards law enforcement. I was the chief in Shippensburg for almost 3 years. And at the time, Chief Camacho of Chambersburg brought me to Chambersburg, made me an offer I couldn't refuse. And I came on almost 4 years ago as the police inspector. And then suddenly, Chief Camacho wanted to get the warm sun of South Carolina and made the move to North Charleston. And I was fortunate enough to be selected as the next chief. Wonderful. So I've been in that role since February and have hit the ground running and have not missed a beat.
What we're going to break into, the overarching topic today is that you're recruiting and you're getting ready to begin testing, and all of this can be found at chambersburgpdcareers.com. But just real quick, one or two bullet points, if you would. What were two things that you made your goals when you became chief for the Chambersburg Police Department?
Well, I certainly want to keep the forward momentum of the police department. We are a very professional agency. We believe in our community and our contacts with the community. We enjoy making sure that we help people. Sure. That professionalism is something that I absolutely want to continue. I also want the bad guys to be aware, bad guys and bad girls, to be aware that don't do crime in Chambersburg. Mm-hmm. We are a community of hardworking people, families, and that's not to say that we will look the other way. Sure. We're professional, but we do our jobs and we take our jobs very seriously and believe in holding people accountable when they make a mistake, mm-hmm. but they need to be held accountable.
Protect and serve.
Protect and serve.
Under that banner.
Absolutely.
So if some folks listening today may be interested in joining the ranks and protecting and serving the community of Chambersburg, and I'm sure in a lot of ways it becomes the greater Chambersburg area. It's a very community outreach-driven profession as well. How would they go about that? It's chambersburgpdcareers.com, but when you say, and I always say, I should have prefaced my apologies on this, is I'm going to ask questions that may seem obvious to perhaps yourself or mm-hmm. Some others who are listening, but I feel that it's my job to ask those obvious questions because there may be some folks who those are questions they'd ask and they otherwise wouldn't get to know.
Absolutely.
So when you say testing begins,
mm-hmm.
walk us through, if I'm listening and I'm either interested in becoming a police officer. I have perhaps some military training. What, if any, expediency to the process does that give me? Take us through the whole thing, if you would.
So on June 1st, our application process opens.
Okay.
And that will run from June 1st to September 5th, close of business on September 5th. And that is where an individual who is interested in law enforcement, interested in becoming a member of the Chambersburg Police Department team, will be able to complete their online application. They'll immediately be assigned to a recruiter. We have 5 recruiters in the Chambersburg Police Department, and we will pair that individual up with a recruiter who will be available to answer any questions, advise you what the process is, how long it will take, the things that they need to be prepared for. There's a physical agility testing, and then there's a written test. And so we make sure that our candidates are prepared for that. We offer tutoring sessions of both venues to make sure people understand the number of push-ups they need to do, the number of sit-ups, how fast they need to be able to run for that testing, which we will do in mid-September. Once the application process closes, they will be assigned a testing date. And testing this year is either September 13th or 14th, that weekend. And again, they'll be guided the whole way. They'll be, encouraged to ask questions. We don't know what people don't know, so we want folks to ask the questions of their recruiters, get to know a little bit about the police department, understand things. Again, we're looking for the next generation, the next wave of people who want to be police officers, who want to work in the community. And as you mentioned, the greater Chambersburg area. So we work with our allied agencies. We work with our sheriff's department. We work with our state police. If something, transverses over the border, we work with our Hagerstown partners or our Washington County partners. But in Chambersburg, you would be a Chambersburg police officer. So following the testing, we establish an eligibility list. We know we have vacancies on this list. We've had some retirements. And so we know at minimum we are hiring 3 folks. And then those individuals would go through that next phase. And that next phase, if they are selected, would go through an interview. If they are extended an offer, then they have a little more testing to do, a physical, a psychological, a truth verification test, and then an extensive background. And then if everything flows well, which we certainly hope it would for that individual, they're extended an offer by the borough, and actually they're extended the offer, and then they go through that testing. And then once they get over those hurdles, then they are sworn in before council. And we're preparing them for a January 2026 class.
Okay.
So you will go through the academy, you will graduate in June of 2026, then be assigned a field training officer where you will begin to learn a little bit more, what you've learned in the academy, you will apply on the streets before the time comes where you are cut loose, so to speak, and you're handling calls for service pretty much by yourself in the car, but you're never alone. Right. We always, we back one another up. We're there for one another. The questions don't end. The answers don't end. You're learning the rest of your entire career of hopefully 25 years.
Yeah, if you're not learning, something's probably not right.
That's exactly
or you're not
right.
paying attention, really.
That's right. Because every day is different, and that's the wonderful thing about policing. Every day is different. Mm-hmm. You might handle something that you're like, oh, well, this was pretty boring, and then the next day it could be very exciting. Mm-hmm. It's the individual that wants to give back to the community, wants a different day every day, wants to help people. The individual is going to be working with folks who are not having their best day. Mm-hmm. So we want the caliber of candidate who knows how to work with folks to help them resolve the issues. Again, the victim of the theft of a bicycle, that could be the crime of the century for them, because that bicycle means everything to them. It could be because, we have a husband and wife, or we have friends that aren't getting along, and so we're called to that to help mediate that situation. And then there's traffic enforcement. We want people to be able to get from their originating point to their destination safely. Sure. And sometimes we don't make the smartest decisions in our traffic lives, and so we're held accountable there as well. So every day is different for a police officer, and it's a very exciting and a rewarding career if you think it's for you. And we would love to see you apply.
And I think that it's also you are representing Chambersburg.
Absolutely.
I really, short of mayor and town council, but literally and figuratively, the boots on the ground are the men and women called to protect and serve. Those are the representatives, the shining lights, in my opinion, of our community. And to your point, that may be a high point for some officers or officers to be, is that you have kids who come up to you and they want to meet you when you go to a community event and you're under the Chambersburg PD tent and you're handing out, what coloring books or whatever it is. My daughter loves that type of thing. There's something special I remember from when I was a kid about a man or woman in uniform, whether that's military or police. It grabs your attention, hopefully for all the right reasons.
Right.
And I think that that's a massive personal benefit that an officer, a potential officer who's listening would derive from such a position. Now, Chief, if I may, if I'm listening to this and I have this inclination or interest in applying, going through the process, is there any training? I understand the physical aspect of it before you can move on, but is there any training that I need to have? What are my minimum requirements? Now that can let that also include age requirements. But as far as any type of training, is that something that is provided from A to Z, or do I need to come into it with something?
No, you do not need to come into it with anything. We do have many who have come in from working security at various hospitals, mental health facilities, and so they've learned de-escalation skills. They have some skills, some people skills already, but it's not required. Again, when we are fortunate enough to bring someone on, which our game plan is that hopefully we're extending an offer in November of 2025, we will bring you on and you will begin to learn the Chambersburg Police Department culture. We've had some recruits who have Googled us, researched us, done ride-alongs. They've learned about who we are and what we are, the brand that we wear and carry. Anything specific, no, you're going to learn that. If you have that degree or if you have any type of previous experience, absolutely that's welcomed. Sure. But it's not, if you think you want to be a police officer, you've thought that's what you've wanted to do all your life, you've just been waiting for that time, we'll give you that training. And we pay you for that training. The minute you are brought on that day in November, if it's November of 2025 when we're fortunate enough to bring you on, you start getting a paycheck. And then you go to the academy in January at the Harrisburg Area Community College. You are receiving a paycheck from the Borough of Chambersburg. Okay. And you are learning your skills. You're learning how to drive again. You're learning how to qualify, use a handgun, use a long gun. You'll get all of your constitutional knowledge. You'll get your law knowledge from some of our finest instructors at the academy. So all of that you will learn in the 26 months, so roughly 24 weeks, that you will gain all that education, and then you'll bring that back of what you've learned and you'll begin to apply it. And you'll apply it with that field training officer who is a more seasoned, experienced veteran officer who will guide you and show you, well, you might have wanted to handle this call a little bit differently, or this was very good with your de-escalation skills. You knew how to calm that individual down and let them come around to realizing that, maybe they didn't see things that way.
Right, yeah.
But that's the skill set that we're going to, impart with you. If you bring that on, you're a little bit ahead of that game, and hopefully you'll be able to enhance it. The training will come, and as long as you're willing to learn and take to heart what you are taught, you'll do fine.
What about, Chief, what about someone who may be in law enforcement with another agency, be it local or a little farther away, who is hearing this, or a family member reaches out and says, hey, they're hiring in the Chambersburg Police Department. How does that work with this process? Would they have to still go through the academy? I'm assuming not, but please speak to that.
So it depends. If you are coming from within Pennsylvania, you are something that is already, you're certified. If you're certified in Pennsylvania, you have your Act 120 is what it's referred to as. If you're coming from another state, there is an option that you can test. You can test to apply your knowledge, because probable cause in Maryland is probable cause in Pennsylvania, probable cause in Montana is probable cause in Pennsylvania. So you are provided with the study materials that you need to prepare for, and you study, and then you are offered a test that you go to Harrisburg to take, and you would receive all of that information. And there are various components of the test. And again, it's to make sure that you're prepared, that you've got some of the knowledge of a Pennsylvania officer, and then you can test out of being able to go to the academy, which was one of the situations I was in. I was able to test, and I did not have to go through the academy. If you miss part of that testing, there is a portion where you could go to the academy to be able to brush up on that and learn that. You might not have to go to the full 24-week academy. Right. But if you're young enough and you might not have enough time that you really know all of your elements of crimes and your constitutional law and your state laws and things like that, going through another 24-week academy, again, you're being paid. You're learning how to be a Pennsylvania police officer, and that's not so bad either.
No, not at all. Speaking of the academy, the one question I have about that is you said it's in Harrisburg and it's 24 weeks.
6 months.
6 months.
Which is 24 weeks when I do that math.
Well, is that something where you have to go there and you are housed there, or is it a commuting thing?
So it is. It's a commuting type situation. Your hours could vary, but they give you a calendar and your schedule at the beginning of the academy, so you're able to adjust your life. Working and going to the academy does not work.
Right.
You need to devote your time. Again, you're getting that paycheck.
Sure.
You need to devote your time because you will be learning, then you're going to be going home and you're going to be studying. So you go home to your primary residence. There's no housing per se, no barracks or anything like that. And for the most part, I'd say it's Monday through Friday, but there are some weekends that they do require the recruits to work. But you do go home, but you are required. You've got to study.
Chambersburg PD Careers is the website. The one thing that we have not touched on, Chief, is pay. What's the compensation package look like and some of the benefits to be a Chambersburg police officer? So
right now, an officer that would be hired in 2025 will start a little over $62,000. Okay. When they graduate from the academy, that salary increases to about $64,000. So, and then you begin to receive your yearly increments, so your pay steadily increases. Okay. You get to a certain point in your career, and then you can begin promotional testing, and you could become a PFC, a patrolman first class, a corporal, a sergeant, through the rank of lieutenant is our highest rank, and then the role of chief. So we feel that our pay is competitive. You get full benefits. You get full benefits, health care, dental, vision. You get all that that first day when you're still a civilian before you've even started the academy. Mm-hmm. The one other thing that Chambersburg does offer that we're very proud of is if you didn't finish your schooling, or you've got your associates, but you're like, I always wanted my bachelor's. If you go into a degree line that is similar with criminal justice, mm-hmm. the borough will pay for it. Wow. They will pay for just about everything. Now, there are lab fees associated with classes. That's not covered. Right. But the majority of your tuition of your 4-year or your master's degree, that will be covered by the borough. Nice. We believe in education very strongly in Chambersburg and in the police department. So we're above the national average. We have many officers with bachelor's degrees. We have a few less with master's degrees, but we certainly encourage that because, again, that additional education makes you better, but it also makes the department better, makes the borough better. Absolutely. And then it makes our interactions with the community that much better as well.
And overall makes the community better.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely.
So before I let you go, Chief, is there anything that we have not covered as far as applying for the training, anything involving joining the team at Chambersburg Police Department that we haven't covered today?
If we haven't, then a recruiter will finish those questions for you. And again, all of our recruiters are very wonderful. They want to see people succeed. They'll guide you, they'll mentor you, they'll tutor you. And if you do sign up, I strongly encourage people to take advantage of the tutoring sessions, both for the physical agility of those push-ups and those sit-ups and the runs and things, but also the written testing. We bring someone in who helps guide someone on how to take the standard civil service examination. Mm-hmm. And we've had recruits that tested in other areas and did not score so well, came to a tutoring session, tested with us, and scored in the 90s. So we're very proud of what we do in Chambersburg, and if you are that quality candidate, we would love to see your application.
We've been talking today with Chief of Police for the Chambersburg Police Department, Meredith Dominick. Chief, thank you so much for joining us today on Let's Talk Tri-State. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
I don't know what I expected when we started to record this interview, but it far exceeded my expectations. It's been a pleasure. And
Wonderful.
You are welcome back anytime.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for joining us on Let's Talk Tri-State.
Let's talk Tri-State.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.